Up next is one of our favorites in the dental industry. Her story of how she got into dental is amazing, and she's one of the kindest people you will ever meet. As a founder of the Teach Me Dental movement and the comprehensive dental continuum, Dr. Glasper is committed to advancing the perception of oral health and educating to enable a more complete approach to bettering patient experiences.
My dad had the gift of gab. My dad could talk to anybody about anything. When I was growing up, people would refer to my dad as JW or Dove, but to me, he was just my dad. I don't think he ever met a stranger. When my father would come into the room, he had such presence, such swag. When I was younger and we would go to different outings, different family gatherings, I would watch him. And when I would watch him, sometimes I would see him talking to someone and he would put his hand on their shoulder. I would see him lean in. He would look that person straight in the eye, and he would let that person feel that he was listening to them. I would look at the face of the person he was talking to, and they would show so much joy. They would be laughing. And to me, that person looked as if they felt like the most important person in the room. My dad had the ability to make you feel like you were the most important person in the room. Now, over the years, my mom would say to me, "You know you have your dad's gift of gab, right?" I don't think that was always a compliment. Now, my parents had been together since they were about 19 years old. My mother's now 87. So they had been together for about 50 years. I know that she saw things about my dad that I didn't know about. But one thing I did know is that my father's ability to communicate and connect was one of the things that made her fall in love. Now, I can be bold, and I have been certain over the years that my ability to communicate has been a key asset in my business success. As a dental coach, I cannot overemphasize the importance of communication as a critical component of the doctor-patient relationship. But I also know that there are many doctors, many physicians who are a bit challenged when it comes to communicating or connecting with their patients. Remember, I said that my dad, he made people feel like they were the most important person in the room. I think it's important that we make our patients feel that way. It's important that we make them feel special. Why is it important? When we're able to connect with our patients, they know that we care. And when people know that we care, they feel that we have their best interests at heart. And we don't have to keep telling them that we have their best interests at heart, but we do have to demonstrate it. No one wants to feel like a number. And as physicians, as business owners, we want to distinguish ourselves. We want to differentiate ourselves from other practitioners. To do that, it takes working with the right people, and it's a process. If our ultimate goal is to build trust, loyalty, and to increase patient retention, then I don't think this is optional. I think it's a must. And I thank goodness that it's not as hard as it used to be. My dad owned a successful janitorial service. Now, he was one of the first African Americans in our area to own his own business. We were so proud, so happy as a family. And he had a team in place already because he had 6 sons and then me. Now, let me tell you, I was not the type to want to mop a floor in a grocery store or to clean the toilets at a nursing home or to pick up trash from a movie theater. And I'm so happy that my parents didn't make me do it. But when my dad would meet with his customers, he would meet with them face to face. And then when he would leave that meeting, often he would sit with my mom and they would write a letter. And the letter would say, "We appreciate your business. Please know that we're available if you ever need us." And then my dad would follow up with a phone call. Can you imagine that today? Today, in the era of digital technology, literally, we can call somebody, 2 or 3 times, and they won't answer the phone. We text them, and they respond immediately. I mean, they had to know we knew they were sitting right by the phone. But guess what? We do it too, don't we? We could be sitting right by that phone, and we won't answer it. But you send us a text message, and we'll respond. Why do we think that's so? Because responding to a text message is easier, it takes less effort, it gets the job done. And even though we know it's not as personal as a phone call, research has shown that people are more likely to respond to a text message than they would a phone call or voicemail. I'm so happy. I'm so happy that there are companies out there that are willing to work for relationships as well. When I was speaking at Hinman this year, Mike Buckner and Danny from Weave took me out to dinner. And when we went out to dinner, Mike was sharing all these incredible things that they're doing with this communication platform. We're going to this wonderful Italian restaurant somewhere in Decatur, Georgia, and he was so enthusiastic. It's wonderful to work with companies where they are focused on building and maintaining the patient and doctor relationship. So now, working with this technology, I can send personalized messages to my patients. I can follow up with them after appointments. I can check to see if they need anything. I can let them know that I look forward to their next visit. This technology is so very simple, but brilliant. Every successful dental practice is based on the doctor-patient relationship. And if I can say so myself, I have extraordinary relationships with my patients. Not because I'm so extraordinary, but because they are extraordinary. I believe it's because of how I relate to my patients. I don't treat them as just patients, I treat them as people. And I don't treat them as just people, but very important people. When you go to a doctor, what are the kind of things that you're looking for? You're looking for communication, information with explanation, and you want them to be able to talk to you in layman terms so you can understand it. You need to know that that person sees who you are and is present for that conversation, that they have follow-up. I know in our practice, We're so busy, we're trying to manage our schedule and juggling patients and performing dentistry. You're wondering, how do I have time to give my full attention to every single patient who comes into the practice? But I know you also realize that every patient, every potential patient, is an opportunity to make a difference in someone's life. And when we look at the new patient experience, to me it's almost like going on a first date, right? You have the discovery phase, and you have the anxiety sometimes that you might have a challenge that you're going to have to solve with that person. You don't really know them, they don't trust you, you don't trust them. When patients come into our office, it's a little bit like that. So one of the things that we do when we're getting ready to date someone is we try to have communication before we get to that point. When I was talking to Mike during that visit at Hinman over dinner, he was talking about sending a message to new patients before they come to the practice. I thought, that's an incredible idea. I can send you a message saying, I look forward to seeing you next Thursday. If you have any questions, please let me know. I've already started the communication, the connection. When patients come into my reception area for their first visit, I like to go out and meet them way before we get to the operatory. But once we get back into the exam room, a lot of times I'll sit that patient up, I'll look them eye to eye, I'll lean in like my dad and let them know that I'm listening, because I want them to know you matter in this practice. I want to know why you chose my practice. I want to assess if they're a good fit for my services. And I want them to know that they have a choice in the matter of their care. Now, this is after education. This is after digital photographs. It's after they have all the information that once they are educated, they can make an informed decision. People who know they have a choice in the matter tend to choose more powerfully. Everything I'm talking about here is about creating value. Communication goes both ways. We can't just communicate with our patients. We have to invite them to communicate with us as well. Now, we live in a day and age where it's so fast-paced and technology-heavy that many of our patients do not feel cared for or listened to. I would say, as a matter of fact, many of them are craving the personal connection. It's important that we make our patients know that we're listening, that we care enough to listen. When people realize that, then they feel valued. And it also empowers them to make good decisions around their health. And as a physician, that means the extra time that I've taken to build that relationship was worth the while. You know, I don't know how old I was when I found out that my dad only had a third grade education. I couldn't believe it. I was shocked. My father was one of the smartest men I knew. My dad, who was so energetic, so engaging, he stood tall in a room. And anyone who knows me, I'm pretty tall, but my dad was one of the shortest ones in the family. He was about 5'11", I had a brother 6'8". But my dad didn't have to put on any airs to be recognized. He was authentically himself. Lasting relationships is about authenticity and trust. Now, I'm not saying that you have to have a personal relationship with your patients if you don't want to. For me, in my practice, I do. I go to their weddings, their funerals, their baby showers, their parties, and I invite them to mine. But you might be thinking, listen, I don't even have to communicate with my patient. I'm a great dentist. Many of us are great dentists. But research has shown patients don't know anything about occlusal morphology, a closed margin, or a smile design. They don't really know about the quality of work that you deliver, but they do know how you make them feel. Marketing experts. Well, let me say, first, I'm no wallflower. I think you can tell that by now. I can be pretty bodacious sometimes. I can have a big personality like my dad and not be afraid to let it out. Like him, I like connecting with people. But I realize that not everybody is the bodacious type. Not everyone is an artful communicator. Isn't it wonderful that we have companies that can help us with that? We have companies where we can open up dialogue with patients without ever having to see them in the office or pick up the phone. We can connect with that new patient before they come into the office. We can send them messages saying, thinking of you. Congratulations, I heard that Kevin got into Princeton. Or, please know that the symptoms that you might be experiencing after that surgery is normal. All of this technology that is effective and is not intrusive. All of this technology you can do without even lifting a finger. Wait, only by lifting a finger. Marketing experts say that it takes 7 touches before you'll make a sale. Weave technology allows you to make those 7 critical touches. Quality communication. People like to know that you're thinking about them. Again, you can have open dialogue with patients in real time. You can text them and they can text you right back. Or you can go into the Weave app and call them from a secure line. Have you noticed when your team can't get in contact with the patient, they tell you, you text or call the patient, and the patient responds immediately and schedules that appointment. The second thing is you have access to critical data. People, like I said earlier, they need to feel like you know who they are. You can access their date of birth, what you did on them the last time, when their upcoming appointment is, even their financials. Quality, regular communication. It eases the anxiety that people feel when they're coming to the dentist. When a person has less anxiety, they tend to go through with treatment. They tend to tell you how you can better serve them and how they can be more comfortable in your chair. Regular communication builds trust, and trust builds loyalty. This technology, this communication platform is about having access to your business and your patients. It's about building and maintaining relationships. And a keynote is this: many people that have successful businesses realize that people want to do business with those they know, they like, or trust. Quality communication, knowing who your patients are, regular communication. This is all about communicating and connection. Weave has allowed me to have that with my patients. And what's so wonderful is without all the time commitment that my dad had. With my patients, I have about a 75% retention rate of my quality patients. I do comprehensive dentistry, but every now and again, you'll get a patient who's not quite happy with your services. So I'll share with you an appointment, a new patient appointment that I had recently. This new patient comes into the office. We bring her in for the comprehensive examination. It takes about an hour and 15 minutes. The patient seems so enthusiastic. As a matter of fact, she told my team member, either my hygienist or my financial coordinator, that she had never had an appointment that was so thorough. When she was in the consult room, she made an appointment. About a week and a half before the appointment, she canceled. She sent an email. So one of my team members came to me and said, "Dr. Glasper, I think you need to address this." So I went into the Weave app. I sent her a message. I said, as a doctor, as the business owner, I'd like to know what happened. Why did you cancel your appointment? Do you have any concerns? Your feedback can help us grow. And she said to me, "I sent my concerns to you. I responded to that review that you sent me." What review? What review did we send you? So I went to my team and I said, wait, she said she did an online review. So we looked in the Weave app and there it was. A piece of the technology I didn't really even know existed. And she wasn't the first person to leave a review. What she said to me was, the appointment was too long. I had some sensitivity after the cleaning. And I felt like you only offered the most expensive procedures. So now I had the opportunity to respond. What I said to her is a comprehensive examination, which should have been explained to you before you came to my practice, means charting everything, looking at the hard and soft structures, doing an oral cancer examination, taking full mouth radiographs, doing digital imaging, and doing a comprehensive periodontal assessment. When we did your assessment, as we showed you at that visit, you had some areas of concern, some areas of inflammation. Maybe that was the area where you had the sensitivity. If you had reached out to us, we would have gotten back to you immediately and tried to understand what the problem was and address it. And as far as offering you the most expensive procedures, we offered you the most appropriate procedures. And we gave you literature, we played you a video, we showed you with your digital imaging and your intraorals the problems that you had. She was happy. She thanked me for addressing her concerns. And I thanked Weave because that review could have been on Google or Yelp. At least I had the opportunity to privately address that. But you know, all of this All of this has to arrive at a certain point. It's about creating win-win relationships. My father used to do that. My father created a win-win relationship, and he understood it's about connecting with your patients. It's about regular communication. It's about asking them, are you happy with my services? In my practice, when I get feedback from my patients, many times, if I think it's appropriate, I'll act on what they suggested. And often, I've seen a positive response. When people know that you're willing to act on issues that they feel need to be addressed, they tend to stay with your practice, and they tend to refer others to you. The power of communication. The power of communication is about building healthy doctor-patient relationships. It's about enhancing loyalty. It's about creating win-win situations and adding value to your services. The power of working with companies that understand that. Working with a communication company that has given me flexibility and freedom. I can use this technology whether I'm out of the country, on a beach, or sitting in my lazy boy. It's about ease of use. It's about efficiency and integrity. My dad has passed, and that was extremely difficult for me, but I can see him every day. I see him in my two sons, in their mannerism. I see it in my brothers. Two of my brothers look just like my father. I can see it when I look in the mirror. I have his eyes, I have his smile, and I have his gift of gab. You know, I'm thankful. I'm so thankful. I'm thankful that I had a relationship with a wonderful man that taught me how to build strong business relationships. And I'm thankful to Weave that I don't have to work as hard as my dad did.